So you wanna make a Lego game using some big property, but you already did Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Lord of the Rings. Well, I think there's still one option that you've yet to explore. It's the series about a girl and her robotic dinosaurs. Now I know what you're all thinking, hey, isn't this a bit of a stretch? Horizon's fan base has been shrinking. It might be pretty, but there's always a catch. I've only met one person in my whole damn life who had an insatiable Horizon appetite. Everybody else doesn't care that much, but Herman Hulse doesn't really give a fuck. So here you go, world, it's Horizon again. If you got money, it's time to spend. It's got multiplayer, find a friend. Ooh, open up your mouth, girl, let me pour some Horizon in. It's sweet like honey, so give us all your money. Oh wait, oh fuck, no one's buying the game. I thought Horizon was as cool as Star Wars. I guess it turns out it's just kinda lame. Ooh, holy crap, oh no, why doesn't anybody care? Horizon is just as cool as all those other Lego games. Even though the evidence makes it seem like it's irrelevant, Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. All of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped, Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Skeep-a-doop-bop-boop, geep-a-deep-a-doo-da, robo-dino-skip-bop, skip-bop, eep-a-deep-a-deep-a-boo-bop, going till the doo-da-beep-bop-a-noo-ta. Horizon should never had a Lego game. Whoever greenlit that must have been fucking insane. Lego Horizon flopped. I'm not sure why they bothered trying. All of its fans must have been lying. Lego Horizon flopped, Horizon. Guess Sony is gonna have to try again. Sorry Herman Hulse, guess he didn't make a new Star Wars after all. Sorry Herman Hulse, just another day of ya dropping the ball.
"16 times the detail."
I drove my rusty pickup to the local game store door. Starfield gleamed upon the shelf, couldn't wait no more. Todd Howard spun his stories of galaxies afar, but when I fired up that game, I didn't get too far. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. They boasted endless planets, each one unique and new. But after planet number 3, I'd seen a deja vu.
Damn right.
The critics didn't love it, gave it mediocre scores. Just another space misfire echoed across the boards. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true. I searched for epic battles, but the AI wouldn't fight. Characters were wooden and the dialogue was trite. Todd promised me the cosmos, but left me in the dust. Now I'm trading in this game, it's betrayed my trust. Oh, Todd, you weaved a fable of worlds beyond compare, but all I got were glitches and load screens everywhere. Still somehow I'm considering when the next game's not, 'cause hope's
left me wishing for a game that's true, 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 true. Oh, Todd, you sold me stardust, but gave me empty skies. Promised me the universe with all your alibis. I fell for all your stories, like I always do. Starfield left me wishing for a game that's true.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Who's Jimothy Todd Uppies? How dare you? Todd Uppies. It'd be more like Uppies. Oh, Todd. Guys, you guys know we had to pass on the podcast this week. Jor was like, not sure. He was busy with something else, but he's in trouble. He's in big trouble because guess what? I found a video of Jor when we were supposed to be doing our podcast at a concert. Damn it, Joe Raptor. We're gonna have a talk. We're gonna have a talk about this. I think we have to. How are you guys doing? Everybody doing good? Definitely Jor. Yeah, you can tell by the jawline. Let's see, Todd. It's like, you know, the scary dinosaur jawline. I worked at Chick-fil-A in high school for a summer. And I've told the story before, but it's not much of a story. Basically, just at the time, I was just a little fella. We were doing Krav Maga training too, so I was like shredded, like late high school. And apparently I had a strong jawline. And so one of my coworkers, very sweet girl named Kenzie, she would just casually call me Murder Face. Because apparently when I wasn't smiling, my face looked like I wanted to murder someone. But I was like, that's just my face. I don't know what you want from me. But apparently I had kind of a scary resting face. Now I've got a little more plump. Got a little more chunk. So I think it fills it out. Makes me look more like a friendly baker or crossing guard or something, you know. That American Dad jaw. Yeah. And then I murdered her. No. Did I hear the Chick-fil-A rap song? I did not, but I can only imagine. Around JD Vance babyface, dude, those memes, I lose it every time. There was the one where somebody made like a full 3D version and had him like rotating around in the frame. It's priceless. I don't know where that started, but dude, it's freaking funny as hell. I cannot handle it. Kappa, thank you for 21 months. Ooh, baby. Dad bod never did you wrong. You're damn right, dude. You're damn right. Dad bod will do you good. It's also like, it's not normal to be like super duper shredded. It's okay to have like a little fat on your bones. Like to get to the level of shred people think, okay, this is like extreme, but like the level of shred that I think people imagine as like the male ideal is like Dorian Yates in his prime, you know, where he just looked like a monster. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger was obviously a behemoth, but Dorian Yates, dude, he was on another level. Even Arnold thinks so. Arnold's like, yeah, no, there's never really been anyone quite like him. But to get to this level of shred, your body fat has to go down to like crazy dangerous levels. And Dorian would tell stories when he was getting ready for bodybuilding competitions where he was so low on body fat that he didn't have padding on the heel of his foot. So it hurt to walk through the convention center for the bodybuilding competition. Because on the bottom of your heel, there's a little bit of fat that literally is just for padding. It's like your body's not meant to be that shredded, okay? There's a good amount of fat, okay? Now, dad bod fat might be too much, but that's why we try to stay active, right? Those guys do go too deep. I mean, I've said before, I have members in my family who are like IFBB pros, who are like professional bodybuilders, and it's always interesting talking to them about it, because they're like, no, I mean, to a certain extent, it can be a form of body dysmorphia, similar to people who have like anorexia and won't eat because they think they're fat. On the flip side, like bodybuilders, a lot of them have a mental thing where like they can never be big enough. So they have to keep bulking and bulking, because otherwise they're just never satisfied. They always think they look too scrawny. They always think that they are not where they want to be. So it's kind of two sides of the same coin. It's like when people don't realize you can be technically morbidly obese and a bodybuilder, like shredded and super buff. What was that guy? Pina bodybuilder? Rich Piana, that dude. Rich Piana was a monster. You might recognize him from like YouTube videos. You remember this guy? Remember this guy? An absolute behemoth. He was on everything, dude. Like absolutely everything. But he died like 5-10 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it was. He died because, shocker, he was on a lot of drugs to achieve that. But he was very open in like his YouTube videos and stuff, when he was just saying, no, man, I know I'm taking years off my life. I just can't stop. Like, it's just not enough for me. I have to keep going. And so you got to temper it. As always, there's a middle ground. He had implants. I think there were some implants, and then there was a big trend in the 90s and early 2000s where bodybuilders would inject a lot of oil into their muscles, specifically muscles that are really hard to bulk up. So they'd inject muscles into like their delts and sometimes into their triceps and stuff to get a rounder look. But you have to be really, I mean, you should never do that first, but if like they're doing it, they have to be so freaking careful, because breaking news, you're not supposed to, like, your body's not designed or evolved to handle a bunch of fluid in your arms. Like, it's just not. But anyway, emergency fry. Well, have you guys ever seen that? I don't even want to look him up because it's scary. There's a Russian kid. Now he's probably like late 20s, early 30s or something. But there's a Russian guy that uses all those synthetic oils and injects it straight into his muscles, and it's bad. But he only does it to his biceps. So his biceps are like clearly filled with oil and not ready. Like, not real. It's like, okay, I'll look it up. Okay. For love of God. Russian oil in arms. They call him the Russian Popeye. Where's a good picture? Yeah. You got a problem if you're doing this. Like, there's something going on. Nasty. Because sometimes it pops. Like, because your body, again, is not evolved to handle that. So they'll do this. They'll inject it like crazy into their arms, and then those will burst. And then it just seeps a bunch of oil into your body. And so they go septic, and people die doing it all the time. But like, to everybody, it looks ridiculous. And yet they still do it, you know. Be a friend. If you see a friend doing something stupid like that, yell at them, okay? Like, Jesus. Anyway, Spec Ops, 25 months of membership. That's most definitely what's up. Thank you so much, my friend. MF in 25 months. I know, dude, it's insane. Still haven't played a game, but we're making shirts and crushing pharma contracts. I tried emailing to some free clothing. Oh, really? Emailing to do some free clothing? Try again. I'll keep an eye out for it. I've been like super... I don't know what it is, but we've just gotten flooded. I think we crossed whatever threshold on TikTok you need to cross for like a lot of sponsor bots to start dynamically like emailing you. But our like email for sponsorship opportunities inbox has just been flooded. It's insane. It's like too much because it's all crap. It's like, hey, would you like to promote our dumpling maker? I'm like, no. And it's always like, we can offer you a free unit in exchange for a promotion. And I'm like, no, get out of here. What are you talking about? It's just like, stop. It's the problem. There's a lot more garbage offers on TikTok, it seems. A lot more. Anyway, I'll take a dumpling maker. That sounds awesome. Dude, it's that like cheap, crappy little $3 thing that you see on those like TikTok shop, Temu, whatever things. It's like actual garbage. It probably works once or twice and then breaks. But they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Can we not? Anyway, Spec Ops. Try again, Luke at 28thAv.com. And I'll tell my manager to keep an eye out for it. Scuba, thank you for the 10. Very generous. This week is big. A big week for SC. We finally got our first alien NPC in the verse. Happy Friday. Oh, really? That's cool. I mean, I'm excited that they did that managerial shakeup. Like at the end of last year, they laid off some people, rearranged some of the leadership. It seems, maybe this is just hopeful delusion, but it seems like they're really trying to do what they need to do to make significant progress. Which I think is absolutely accurate. Like at some point they've got to release a 1.0. At some point they've got to get there, and they also have to shake this perception that like it's a scam. And I think the best way to do that is by just coming out swinging with some massive updates that really start to move the ball, you know. Ed Wedgie, thank you for the 5. You look good. Being shredded isn't necessary. I had 2% body fat for no reason and came from just being self-conscious, living the same, chilled out. Yeah, no, it's honestly, I think a lot of it is about activity. Since me and my wife, we started doing like Orange Theory classes on the reg. And if you don't know Orange Theory, like people joke, they're like, oh, the chick gym. There's a lot of guys that do it too, but I will tell you what, for the first month we did it, those girls kicked my ass, okay? It's nothing but like hardcore cardio. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, you know, we go hard at it, and it's really good. And, you know, now we're accustomed to it. I just did it this morning. That's why we didn't do a morning stream, because I was doing an Orange Theory class. But I'll tell you what, since we've been doing it, I've had more energy. I'm feeling better. Like it used to be by the end of the day, I'm just dead. Even though I've done basically nothing. I work at home. Like, why am I tired? But you go, you work your ass off. You get active. And the whole idea of Orange Theory is that you get your heart rate to a specific spot in the orange zone, because it's like, you know, gray is resting, blue is like moderate, maybe walking around, green is like, okay, we're doing some running, we're jogging, our heart's going. Orange is when you're like pushing yourself in cardio, and red is like you're about to pass out, your heart's going brrr, you know. But if you stay in that orange zone, in that push cardio area for long enough, there's studies that show your metabolism is faster throughout the rest of the day, and you can like really burn more calories throughout the day, even after you've left the gym. So, and I like, from what I can tell, it actually does work. I'm actually down like a solid 4.5 pounds in like a month, like five weeks, I think. So it works. It works. Recommend it. Recommend it. You go, girl. Thank you. Thank you. But I encourage you, if you've been like, I want to be more active, get out there. Tell us in chat. We'll hold you accountable, and we'll make fun of you if you fail. Because that's part of it. Is it like, if I stop going and stop making progress in dropping a little bit of the dad bod, and you know, I come on stream and I'm like, you guys say, hey, how was Orange Theory this Friday, Luke? And I'm like, oh, I didn't go. You guys have full permission to tease me relentlessly, okay? Call me chub, call me wub, whatever you need to do. But that's how you do it. I'm a firm believer in the effective power of mockery. It works for me, at least. You know, noted. Good. Kermit, no, you have to call me Miss Piggy. Fatty Luke Chunk, see, that's not bad. What a lub dub dub. That's good. See, we're having fun with it. Or I still can't remember the blueberry character in Concord. Concord blue guy. I don't know. Yeah, this guy. Call me whatever this guy's name is. Then I'll feel bad and I'll go to the gym. Problem solved. It's like, Luke, are you encouraging bullying? Yeah, me. You have permission to bully me if I don't go to the gym. That's how it works. Don't bully anyone else, but bully me. I'm all for it. Oh, man. Isn't it sad that I can say the Concord Blueberry guy and you know exactly who I'm talking about? What other game would have character designs that bad? Like even Overwatch, is there anybody who's like that hilariously like simple? I think that was a woman. No, I think it's like a Hispanic dude, but I could be wrong. That's the problem. I can't tell anymore, dude. Okay, let's see. Is it Vale DeVere? I don't even know. DeVere's. Okay, Daw. If you're a Jibby main in Apex, then Daw's the man for you. Okay. Though he doesn't have quite the same explosivity as the Polynesian powerhouse, if bunkering down a location and playing out from cover is your preferred playstyle, then Daw's got you well covered. How many of these? I bet a lot of these are like comparing it to like Overwatch archetypes and stuff. Oh yeah, the green behemoth was the other one. People called her the Shrek character. It's a little funny. It's a little funny. It's just a little funny. Dude, I still have that Concord shirt. I should find it. I wonder... Oh, man, I wonder if they do just walk away from it completely, or if they do bring it back just as like, hey, we added an offline mode or something. Because I think people will play it for the memes, like freaking Morbius. Do something like that. Like, wouldn't that be like easy peasy? I'd go back and play it for an afternoon for a stream because I think it'd be funny, you know? Oh, man. This was also kind of funny. Gene tweeted out, the games industry can't sustain an E3 sized event, but Taco Bell alone can. If you don't know, Taco Bell does this like big Apple keynote type event. I think they do it once a year. They might even do it more than once a year, but they announce like the big things they're doing in their menu, like adding a taco that's nothing but fried cheese. And they have these like big announcements where they walk around talking about how they're going to innovate the taco. It's all like jokes and gags, but it's thoroughly entertaining. Taco Bell Direct, yeah. And so like the meme now is we can't have a E3, but Taco Bell can do this. And I get the joke. Okay. The fundamental problem with E3 can be demonstrated with, shocker, MS Paint. E3 is really simple, okay? Really simple to understand. For years, you had a building. And in that building, you had all these companies, all these different companies that would buy out booths, some of them small, some of them massive. Like, you know, Fortnite shows up, and then some moderate ones like CDPR is going to promote Cyberpunk. And you just have like a big variety, right? And this is how it worked. But at one point, some of these big publishers started to realize, hey, we have to pay E3 a ton of cash to be in their building. And there's another building across the street. Why don't we just go have our own building across the street? The people that paid to go to E3 will just walk across the street and come to our venue. Why not? So then you get PlayStation pulling out and doing that. Xbox does that. There's like discussions of EA doing it. Like you start to have all of the big guys pulling out to just do their own shows in their own space and theater. And they save a ton of money because they're not having to pay E3 to host it. But then E3 is like, well, now the only stuff we have at our event are like crappy mobile games. And then like, I remember when I went, Bang Energy was like a huge presence. And it was like hilariously comical because they had E3 2019. Whoops. E3 2019. I wonder if anybody has a video of this. Bang Energy. They had a stage with like dancers on it, and they would dress up and just like dress in bikinis and just dance around. And then, like, they would throw out energy drinks to people. This was like a huge thing at E3. They had a massive booth in the corner of the expo, and it was just Bang Energy. And it was literally just, they had girls. This is way more clothed than I remember them being. And they would just dance and twerk and stuff and then hand out energy drinks. And all these gamers would just stand around and watch. It's like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's so stupid, okay? But that's what E3 was turning into, was just that, you know? And at that point, if you are thinking of going, why would you spend money to go to this when you could just go to these places that make more sense if you could get in, because these were more selective. And also E3 relied on a ton of money coming from these big guys in order to fund all of this. And so when these big guys left, they didn't have the money to do the event, and so they just shut it down and moved on. But they still are basically doing E3. It's just now called Summer Games Fest. And it's industry only. Like, you have to be invited by Jeff Keighley and his team. I went last year. It was super cool. But it's much more focused. I mean, it's the size of maybe like 2-3 football fields in this little like complex in a very sketchy part of town. And they just have like, this company has this building set aside for them. These people have a little booth. You want to go play Monster Hunter early? Yeah, reserve a slot. You want to go try Elden Ring, the Shadow of the Air Tree? Go try that, but you have to get an appointment. Like it's just, they basically remade E3 into what it used to be and then just called it something else. So it's still out there, but it's not, I think, what the public was hoping for, because the public was hoping for what E3 was in like 2018, 2019, where if you bought a ticket, you could go and you could see these games early, and that was a really cool thing. But that just wasn't profitable anymore. They were losing money, so they pulled out. Jeff owns the games media. I mean, he and his teams have great relationships with the big publishers, and that's 80% of the battle, honestly, because you could put on a different type of show. You could try to start something from the ground up, but the problem is, how do you get those guys to show up with their trailers? Like, they have to trust you. They have to understand and appreciate your like infrastructure and your organizational capabilities, your ability to bring the talent and media in that makes that worthwhile for them. And that's just something that Jeff has years of experience doing. Love him or hate him, Jeff is good at putting up these types of events. You know, I don't think he's the best like presenter or host of an event, but I do think he's very good at putting on the events pretty clearly. So anyway, that's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. Okay. Anyway, let me continue catching with these. Let's see. Lonely Fades, thank you for the 2. You saw Respawn canceled the unknown FPS. Yeah, it's rumored that it was a Star Wars FPS of some sort, and they've canceled it. My guess is because they are trying to focus more on the next Jedi Survivor game, and they also, according to EA execs, are preparing for a big 2.0 update, basically, to Apex. Maybe a relaunch, maybe a second game entirely, who knows, but they're apparently trying to completely overhaul Apex. We'll see. We'll see. It's tragic what's happened to Apex, because I love Apex, dude. I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in Apex, but man, I just can't anymore. So drinking a Bud Light? No, way more boring. It's a Zevia. It's a 0-calorie soda sweetened with stevia, which is a plant of some sort. Yeah. Apex needs new servers, a better anti-cheat. They just need an overhaul. But you start to get to this point where, like, you can tell they're planning on doing something different. Because, like, a lot of games for a long time, for like Apex, you know, the dev process and dev effort is up here. But eventually it starts to taper down, right? Until they cancel the game. But the goal is for them to have something new that's coming up. And so they start developing that, revving that up. And hopefully this crossover point isn't too severe. The problem is right now, it feels like the line is much more like this. So we've just been seeing this slope and effort down where EA's like not trying with Apex because they're like, we're going to be doing a revamped version. Why spend millions on fixing Apex if we're just going to do a new version of it? So just don't even try. And that's where we're at now. You'd hope that it was a much better crossover so they don't waste as much time just letting it die. But that's what they're doing now, is just running it into the ground, which is too bad. Let's see. Alejandro, thank you for the 2. Hey, Luke, you ready for Epic Universe this summer? Dude, I don't think we're going to go. Probably not this year, because right now you can only buy 1-day tickets. And you can't do that whole new park in 1 day. So we'd have to do like a 2-day to the other park, 1 day in Epic, and then buy like a second package, a second reservation right after for 2 days in the other park. 1 day in Epic. And I'm like, that's unnecessary. That's tedious and annoying. So we're just going to wait until you can do like a 3-day pass just at Epic and do it that way. That'll be 20K, sir. Yeah, probably when it first launches. Yeah, but we're going to wait till we can actually go and like really enjoy it. Plus, a lot of theme parks have a lot of problems when they first launch. Let's just be real. A lot of those rides break down. A lot of Epic and Universal is way better than Disney. I mean, Disney will spend 6 years overhauling Splash Mountain into Tianu's whatever. And apparently that ride still breaks half the time. Like, it's just shut down half the time. What TF is Epic Universe? Epic Universe is, Universal Studios Orlando. Epic Universe is a massive overhaul to that. So at Epic or at Universal Orlando, they have, they have Islands of Adventure, Volcano Bay, which is the water park, and then whatever the other one is. And so they have like these different theme parks. With Epic Universe, what they're doing is they're just building an entirely new theme park on top of like the one they have already. The other one is like over here. This one, brand new, or I think it's over here. But anyway, they have a Super Nintendo World, Celestial Park, How to Train Your Dragon Land, a new Harry Potter land, a dark universe themed around Universal horror movies and stuff. Curse of the Werewolf, Frankenstein's monster, all of that. So they're just adding a whole new theme park, like just another one. Disney is like, we're going to tear down something people like and put in something different. And then Epic and Universal are like, we're just going to spend $7 billion and build a new one. Why not? It's just not even on the same level. Like the amount of time, okay, they announced this about 2,100 days ago, like 2,100 days ago, okay? From the time they announced it to the time they built it, that's what they've achieved. They've done all of that in that period of time, okay? $7 billion. Disney, on the other hand, spent more time building a single ride. Like, it's insane. Disney is just like super slow. Even then, this ride is apparently like 45 seconds long or something. I've never been on it, but Disney, man, they just are not what they used to be. It's amazing how they just, I don't know if they're incompetent or if they just don't value competence. I don't know, but it's crazy. Okay. Anyway, but yeah, I'm very excited for that. Bino, thank you for the 1010. Luke, thank you for your unbiased analysis when it comes to all things video games. You're my favorite content creator. I'd like to ask you, what are some of your favorite video games growing up? Growing up, I mean, when I was really little, we weren't allowed to play many video games. So of the ones I was allowed to play, Thrillville, I remember loving that. For some reason, we were allowed to play Red Faction 2. That was awesome. Freedom Fighters. Freedom Fighters is goated. Haven't touched it in years and years and years, but I remember loving that. Of course, Skyrim. You gotta love that. Fallout New Vegas. Kind of the staples. Bully. I didn't get to play Bully when it came out. I wish I did. That would have been great, but no. Were there any other ones? Oh, Stronghold Crusader. Played the ever-living hell out of that. Love that. Love that one. Yeah. Oh my God, a Freedom Fighter fan? I thought I was the only one. No, dude. Freedom Fighters is goated, dude. I still can hear that, like, the reload sound of the assault rifle. It had a very unique reload sound effect, and I still hear that every once in a while. You could play that sound, just a little snippet of it, and I would immediately be like, oh, Freedom Fighters. I know it. But yeah, that's a throwback, dude. Yeah. Yeah, Thrillville off the rails. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, like AC2 is kind of a given. AC2, AC1, I remember, I think I played AC2 or AC1 after AC2, I think. But it's kind of a blur. Because I played AC2 and then I was like, this is it. This is the shiz. And so then I played like everything else, you know, from AC3 to Black Flag to now, of course, everything else. Defend this area. Yeah, dude. Those were the days. Who needs quests? Just defend the area, loser. Figure it out. That's all you got to do. Let's see. I was going to see if I could find Hogwarts Legacy. So as part of that interview we talked about in that Wonder Woman video about the cancellation, Jason Schreier did talk about the Wonder Woman game a bit, about Hogwarts Legacy 2 a bit, but it's not super clear cut. Like it's just not a dedicated segment or anything.
You know, sales expectations.
Yeah, even like Hogwarts Legacy 2, there's no way that it meets those same levels of expectations because the hunger for like a new Harry Potter game is so not there anymore. It's been satiated, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it's all like little bitty snippets. I'm not sure if there's enough to I'd have to edit it separately, but we'll see. As Retro Raconteur summarized in his post, Hogwarts Legacy Definitive Edition DLC still happening. Hogwarts Legacy 2 is reportedly not being developed as a live service title. They've been able to push that away. They've had fantasies internally of Harry Potter games as a service that can work, but for now, it's just ideas. I'm sure they'll come back to it later. And he says Warner Brothers is not going all in on games as a service. I wonder if this is specifically in the face of Suicide Squad, Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, and the other one, Multiverses, which, you know, were both disasters. So, makes sense. Can you talk about the AC Shadows gameplay? Here's the deal. Look here, look, listen. I am reviewing AC Shadows. And because I'm reviewing AC Shadows, it creates this weird thing where I'm playing the game. For me to look at gameplay clips now and try to talk about it is weird. Because if I see something in the clip and I'm like, normally I would think this looks like X, but I know the answer to the question I would ask. So what do? Do I pretend not to know the answer? You know, it's like, there's no way to really do it without it just being nonsense, you know? So I can't share any thoughts. I'll be able to share them in the, of course, review. But of course, thank you to Ubisoft for providing pretty damn early access. So that's been nice. But reviews go up on the 18th, I believe. And at that point, I mean, I'm sure we're going to do a stream. We're going to talk all about it. I'll answer any questions you have. But for now, you know, as with all games, when you do a review, you get in this weird spot where you're like, I want to talk about it, but I can't. Like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was really tough because I played that. They gave me the game a month early. So I had played the crap out of it. And we're in the lead up to the game's launch. And I'm like, all I want to do is tell everybody how awesome I think, you know, KCD2 is. But I can't. I have to be patient. So it just puts you in a weird spot. But yeah, it's part of the territory. It's part of the territory. It's not 65 degrees in here yet, so I need it lower. Gotta crank that AC. Tell you what. Okay. I'm deaf, not famous. ... Thank you for the 5. Hey, Luke, newish fan, but I've been catching your streams lately. Curious about what you nerd out on the most. Star Wars, Marvel, Lord of the Rings, cheers. Ooh, that's a good question. What do I nerd out? I mean, the thing I probably most immediately nerd out about is like ancient Egypt stuff. I mean, I have an entire shelf in my setup. It's kind of blocked by the mic, but an entire shelf that's just a pyramid and you can't really see them, but there's a bunch of little smaller like stone pyramids carved out there. I love that. Old ships. I have the Titanic up there. I love ships and like that golden age of piracy, pirate stuff. I love that stuff. As for like specific franchises that I geek out about, I like Warhammer, but I'm not like super like deep in the lore. I'm not reading novels and stuff. Like I know enough to get by, but the thing with Warhammer is that I know nothing about Warhammer. Being a fan of Warhammer is like right here. And then there's the giga nerds who are like off the charts. They're so far out into space. They're so deep into Warhammer. It's basically not the same thing as somebody that just likes it, you know? And, you know, one of my buddies is like super deep into Warhammer to the point where he's reading novels, he's reading books, he's watching countless videos all day, every day. It's like all he does is follow that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not that into it, you know? I'm not that into it. Witcher, yeah, I do love me some Witcher. I'll be real, the Netflix Witcher show has like broken me a little bit because it's so bad that it's really hard to stay super giddy for it. So I'm kind of going through a detox period, I think, with Witcher, where I'm like, I have to cleanse my mind, forget the Netflix show because it just upsets me, and then Witcher 4 hopefully is really good, and then we'll all be happy. But yeah, I've got to cleanse it. Then stop giving it views. Oh, I'll say that I watched that show after it took a nosedive in season 2. After that, everything else I watched was in a way where they would not benefit. You know? Anyway, Whoops. Dude, I scrolled too far. But that's a good question. I'm definitely not famous. Thank you for that. Limit Breaks, thank you for the 2. I was able to pee on my foot. Thank you for the life tip. You're welcome, Limit Breaks. If you guys missed Nikki's appearance on stream on Wednesday, that's a reference to that. You missed out. Now you'll never know the inside joke. T-Bone, thank you for the 10. Hey, Luke, what are your thoughts on the THPS 3? That's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake, not having the open map career mode in 4. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not allowed to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater. 3, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. That launched in like 2001. 4. When was 4? 2002. Yeah, like skateboarding was deemed something that like troublesome kids would do. So it was seen as like, yeah, skaters were hooligans. Yeah, that's kind of what it was viewed as. So to play it safe, my parents, I guess, just skipped it. And we're like, no. But anyway, that being, the reason I say that is because I never played them. Like I've never had experience with them. I've seen people play them. I've played like spin-off knockoff versions of it, but I've never played just like pure Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I missed out on it. So I don't know, frankly. I don't know. Womp womp. I know, dude. What was that? There was one game we played when we went on we went on a Christmas vacation. We stayed in a house in Estes Park for like a week, and they had a GameCube and they had some other stuff. I think like a PS2 or a PS3 or something. And we played games on there. That's the first time I tried Harvest Moon, was at that place. And there was a game, it was specifically snowboarding. And there was a character with like black hair, kind of looked like Chris Angel down to his shoulders. And you would snowboard down these courses and then like beat up the other people snowboarding next to you. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? 1080. Snowboard Kids 2, SSX Tricky. SSX Tricky. Let's see. Oh, this might be it. Oh, dude, this might be it. Dude, I just got hit with a flashback. I think this was it. Jacob, do you remember that too? Do you remember this too? I think this was it. I'm pretty sure. Dude, I've not looked at this game in so long. Because like I'm pretty sure we were not supposed to be playing this. Like my parents would have been pretty upset if they found out we were playing it. But it was in the basement of that house we were renting. So the blue ice. Yeah, dude. Oh, what a throwback. Yeah, like we would kind of secretly play it just a little bit. Yeah, I think this was it. We used to play a few of the 1080 games too a little bit later. Dude, that's crazy. That's insane, man. That's wild. I can't believe that. That's awesome. Thank you for helping me remember which game that was. That's crazy. Oh man. Yeah, that just whoa. Oh. Okay. Anyway, refocus. Let's see, where was I? But anyway, T-Bone, thank you for the 10. Very generous. As for what I think about the open map career mode, because I never played it, I don't really know how important that was to those games. So I'm not sure what its disinclusion would mean. So unfortunately, I just don't have much to say about it because I just don't know, frankly. Coronavirus machine, I think is what that username is. Thank you for the 5. As someone who's always wanted to work in the video games industry, do you think now's the right time to get into it given the current state it's in? Hey, listen, man, if you've got the talent to be successful in the industry right now, you'll be set. You know, it's like getting into real estate during a recession. Like, is it going to be super easy? No, it's going to be extremely hard. But if you can do it right now, there's nothing they can throw at you that you won't be able to handle. So I would encourage you to just get in. If you're passionate about it, you want to work in the industry, start working in the industry. Just start doing it. Like, time passes quick. In a year or two, the industry will be in a better spot, hopefully. And at that point, you know, you'll be rocking and rolling with a couple years of experience. But that's the key, is you just got to do it. Like, there's always a million reasons not to do something and only a few good reasons to do something. Focus on the reasons to do it. Just do it. Yes, you can. Yesterday you said tomorrow, so just do it. I've told you guys before. I know everybody memes on that. Everybody memes on it. But dude, I actually found this whole speech like fairly inspirational back in the day.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow, so just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it! Some people dream of success while you're gonna wake up and work hard at it. Nothing is impossible. You should get to the point where anyone else would quit, and you're not gonna stop there. No, what are you waiting for? Do it! Just do it! Yes, you can! Just do it!
He's not wrong.
If you're tired of starting over, stop giving up.
It's true. It's true. Just saying. Just do it. What am I supposed to do though? It, Simon. You do it. It's pretty clear, man. The thing, you do it. Gotta stop thinking that way. Just put the fries in the pack and you will eventually become president. Yeah, dude. The guy that put those fries in the pack, he was doing it. That's the key. That's the key. Okay. I'm disappointed you didn't play Ben Stiller in Starsky and Hutch. Me too, frankly. I'm disappointed by that too. Yeah, Orange Theory class. Dude, at Orange Theory, when you're like going hard, the thing about it is that you have a heart rate monitor on your arm. And it's on the screen. Everybody in the room, including the coach, and especially the coach, can see whether you're pushing yourself. Because like your heart rate doesn't lie. If your heart rate is freaking out, you're working hard, and they know to leave you alone. Like you got it. But if it's not going where it should be, if you're like holding back, the coach will come up to you and be like, you can do it. You drove all the way here. You took the time off work. You can do it. It's awesome. It's good. Just do it. That sounds horrific. Yeah, it's not for everybody, but I'll tell you what, if it is for you, it's freaking batty. It's a good time. Do you want to see somebody way more talented than any of us? Whenever I see this, I just think of the South Park episode. He's like, wait, can you play that? You can play that? See for yourself. Just with the plastic sounds. It's incredibly impressive. I will be honest, every once in a while when I see this, I pause and I wonder, like, what would this guy be able to do if he just decided to play guitar? You know, clearly he's got finger dexterity, let's say. He's almost there. He's almost there. I don't want to get copyright struck, but let's see him finish it. Dude. I'm a medium player on these games, you know, Guitar Hero back in the day. Medium's good. Hard if I'm really feeling like groovy. I can do hard on drums pretty easily. It's introducing the orange button on the guitar that I struggle with, you know. I'm a noob.
Yes! Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god! I did it! Oh my god, dude! Yes!
You see that? He did it. He got out there and just did it. Yes, he can. See? See? Makes sense. Wait, what did he do? It! You know? Oh, man.
Emma Mitchell donated
Emma, thank you.
$19.99 through Super Chat. Luke, can you do a videos about accessibility in video games?
There have been some really impressive ones that have had some like really interesting novel like features and systems. Last of Us Part 2 had some crazy accessibility systems and options in it, which were super cool, whether it was like hearing impairments or vision impairments, colorblind, like all sorts of crazy stuff that they thought of and put in there. Like what was another one recently that had a lot of stuff like that? I feel like there was another one last year that had a bunch. So as for like a full dedicated video on it, I think if there's another game that comes that like really puts a focus on it to the point where we can like focus in on that, there's definitely a potential for it, because it really is like fascinating to see how they think like, okay, we've got these players, this is something that's preventing them from playing our game, like this is the thing we got to fix, and then they come up with crazy interesting solutions to some of those things. It's fascinating to me. It's like a whole another level of problem solving within the game creation process, you know, because you're not just making the game, you're trying to find a way to make the game accessible to people with, you know, certain things like vision impairments or hearing ones. And so it's really interesting to me. But yeah, I have to dig into it. Do some research. Monster Hunter, I think COD has some stuff. I've never understood color blindness. You see black and white. No, there's different versions of color blindness. So sometimes, let's see. Wonder if they have a picture that's like a good indication of this. Yeah, like this. So normal vision looks like this. Deuteranopia, that would appear like this to you if you had this version of color blindness. Tritanopia, it would look like this. Protanopia, it would look like this. And you can usually tell, like my cousin, he was just a little guy. I mean, he was like 4 maybe, but he was over at my mom's house when I was visiting one day, and they were just coloring. They were coloring. And it was something like, you know, he was doing like a little homework kind of packet. And the packet said, color this, I think it was like green or something. And color this one red. And he was going through and he was coloring it, and he colored them both green. And then he just made an offhand comment. He's like, yeah, they're the same color. I have 2 of the same crayons, but they were different colors, you know? And so at that point we're like, oh, I see what he sees, you know? This is also a good demonstration, where like there's just certain colors that, you know, are not seen if you have this condition, if you have this condition, if you have this condition. So in those settings, like games like The Last of Us Part 2 have accessibility options where they apply a color filter for each of these types. So if you have this type, you can the colors rework to account for that, so that you see the full gradients of color and everything where you need to, which is just super cool. It's super cool. Okay. Let's see. Where was I? Did you ever play a racing game called Blur? I don't think so. Thank you for the 5. I don't think I ever played that. Brendan, thank you for the 28 months. That's crazy. Thank you. What's the craziest game you snuck and played? LA Noire. When I first played that, I was not supposed to be playing that game. I'll tell you what. Even though I was like, 13, 14 when it came out, I was not supposed to be playing that. My parents would have been mighty upset. But my uncle had it. And so I borrowed the game and played it. And oh man. Yeah. LA Noire definitely was not supposed to be playing that. My parents would have been quite upset. But yeah, that was, I don't know about crazy, but that's the one I immediately think of. Yeah, those were the days, man. Andre, thank you for that 29 months. Ooh, baby. That's what I needed to start doing something. Yep. Whatever it is, it needs to be it. And do that. Let's see. And Luke, whatever happened to that Titanic game? They're still working on it. You can look it up. It's just Titanic Honor and Glory. You can download the beta thing yourself if you want. But yeah, they're working away. It's flipping massive. Obviously there's a lot that goes into it. They're also moving engines.
Total Malarkey donated $20 through Super Chat.
Now that's malarkey.
My dad's a strong prot, and we've figured out most of what he actually sees as shades of brown.
Oh.
Huge props to game devs that take the time and effort to make those accessibility options. To me, it's a sign of
good polish. Thank you for the 20, and I absolutely agree. I think anybody who's like opposed to those things, I just genuinely don't understand what they could be upset about. It's like they're making it so more people can play the game, and people who have done nothing wrong, they just have a condition where they can't see certain colors, but now they've taken the step to actually add this in to make it so they can play and enjoy the game that you are playing and enjoying too. Like, that's awesome. Why would we be against that? So any chance to like promote it and give them credit for it, I think is awesome. It's why I think something like promoting it at the Game Awards and having an award for accessibility options is also really good, because it incentivizes devs to put that time in and publishers to put that money in to actually do that, which I think is awesome, because if they can be like, it's going to be expensive to do it and to add those color filters or to add this thing or that accessibility option here or there. If you give them an award, executives love awards. They love that crap. I mean, they love it. Even though it's just a statute, they love awards. So you give them an award or a chance to win an award for accessibility options, they'll do it. So keep doing that, But yeah, Titanic Honor and Glory, look it up. TitanicHG.com. You can actually go, if you go Honor and Glory, you can see like a breakdown of all of this. Keel laying, double bottom, all of that. But downloads up here, right here. And then you can download Demo 401, which has like most of the ship. We've looked at it on stream. I still have it downloaded, but you can just walk around the Titanic as it's been recreated. It's super cool. So I recommend you go check it out. And it's free. You just download it and try it. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Then we're going to focus up and talk about something specific. Jack, thank you for 8 months. Ooh, baby. Thank you. Have you watched the previews for Expedition 33? Never played a JRPG type game, but I think I'll give it a go if it reviews well. Yeah, I think it looks baller. I think it looks sick. And let's see. I think Nikki's just leaving to pick up the kids. Yeah. But I think it looks awesome. I'm very excited for that. I think it looks great. And you better believe I am going to be playing it because I think it looks great. And it's a like tiny team, but they're breaking out for the first time, really pushing it. LMM, Sony has a controller for people who can only use one arm. I use it because I can't move my right arm because of my disability. Yeah, see, that's awesome. And I think Xbox also has one that they did. I think that, yeah, all of those accessibility options, controllers, that type of thing. I think it's super cool that that's become a big thing, that they can do it. Just do it, Luke. I will. And then George P, thank you for the final super chat before we get into this and focus. What's the first game you played? For me, it's God of War, Chains of Olympus, and Dynasty Warriors Strike Force when I was 11 years old. I honestly don't remember, frankly. I know that I was apparently taught how to play chess when I was 3, which apparently is pretty young to learn how to play chess. But that's at least what I'm told, is that I was able to play chess when I was 3. So I guess that, technically. As for video games, I don't know. I'm sure it was like Minnesota Cuke, which was like a Donkey Kong Country ripoff, but I'm sure it was something like that. Minesweeper, you know, I don't know. If anybody else played Minnesota Cuke, represent in chat. That'll get a pog for sure, because that's a deep cut. That's a deep, sheltered, raised, fundamentalist Christian cut right there. Okay, I'm just saying. Just saying. Okay, let's talk about something. Finally, you ready? Thank you, everybody, by the way, for the incredible super chats and everything. We already brought in like over $100 in super chats. That's insane. Thank you guys for that. Very humbling. Thank you. Just for me sitting here rambling. So I appreciate you. I realize the Nightbot says $10 super chats get text to speech. So let me change it to 10. So if you're feeling generous and you want to support me and Jacob and Trevor in our pursuits, you can get your text to speech super chat read if you throw in $10 for super chat. Sweet. Okay. You ready for a story that basically goes nowhere? Are you ready? We're gonna do it. Squashy G, thank you for the sub with Prime, by my friend. By the way, my friend, thank you. Love your videos. Always go to your review stuff first. Thank you. Glad to hear it, and I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Okay, you ready? New segment. Okay. Deep breath. Okay, 2 Chainz. You ready? Let's do it. Bethesda has, allegedly, exciting things planned for Starfield this year. But they still refuse to say what that is or even hint at it. So we're going to talk about it because they responded to a post, a very frustrated fan who was like, guys, you got to be more transparent. You got to talk about this stuff. And so we're going to go through it. And I'm going to tell you what I think they're planning, because I've been shockingly right about a lot of BGS stuff and predictions, much to the chagrin of the subreddit. And I'm going to let you know what I think. So we're going to do that. Of course, I have to light the Todd candle, because he is our patron saint of Starfield. And without him, none of this would be possible. So we light the candle in honor of Todd. May Todd be with you. Then you guys in chat reply, and also with you. Okay? May Todd be with you. And also with you. Okay. I just, I really hope one day Todd sees one of these videos and is just like, what the hell? I really hope one day he sees it's just like, did I start a cult accidentally? I kind of hope. One day, we'll see. Anyway, let's talk about it. So, I almost coughed after turning on the effects thing, so it would have been like it would have been an auto-tuned reverbed cough. So anyway, okay, deep breaths. Bethesda has upset some of their core fans, frankly, in the last handful of months, because after the Shattered Space expansion, they basically went radio silent. And the promise of Starfield that Todd reiterated constantly was that this game was going to kind of live, not a live service, but it's going to live over time. They're going to bring new stuff. They're going to bring DLC. They're going to bring expansions. They're going to bring more missions. They're going to bring new planets, all of that stuff. And that is technically true. They have done that. I'll give Todd that. They have brought expansions. They brought one. They brought DLC that they sell separately, including new quests. So one of the quests I made a video on was, I made the video, it was just like, I tried Bethesda's or Starfield's paid mods. And I did. I spent like whatever it was, $30-$50 or something like that. And I bought a bunch of those mods, the paid mods, and tried some of the quests. One of them gave you a gun at the end of the quest line that you couldn't reload, and they later patched it, but then it broke again later. It's very confusing. But the point is, with all of this, Starfield, I don't think has been the smash living, breathing success that they were hoping it would be. They were hoping that it would be a game that continues to live on and players engage with it for a decade or 2 decades. Because realistically, at this point, Fallout 5 is expected probably 2035, maybe a year or two earlier than that. And that would put Starfield like late 2030s, maybe even into 2040. Which is crazy to think about. But that would put it like 15 plus years after the last game. About the distance from, Skyrim to when we're getting Elder Scrolls 6. So it's not an unrealistic timeline for when we get the next Starfield, if we do. And as a result, they need players to have a lot of content to sink their teeth into if they like Starfield, because they're not going to get another fix for a long time. However, the big, massive elephant in the room for Bethesda has been that modders have just not connected with Starfield in the way that they did with Fallout or Elder Scrolls. They just haven't. There was that story that went viral of the big modding team that walked away from trying to make mods for Starfield because they thought it was just too boring. They were like, we're going to go back and keep working on mods for Fallout 4. We're just not interested in modding for Starfield. Like, we're just not interested. And that's, of course, a viral story, but it's only one team, so it's not necessarily indicative of the whole thing. But I think in terms of sentiment, that captures the feeling, which is just that, I want more Fallout instead. So that's what they're doing. But after all of this frustration has been building, which it has been, there's been posts from fans. So, for example, Starfield on March 6th, their official account said, "History in the making. Members of the Starfield community had the privilege of attending this launch last week. See the IM-2 Athena's landing live, where they showed a lunar landing. And that's super cool. And apparently they brought some like Starfield fans there for some reason, which, it's cool. I love space stuff. That's cool. I'm not sure what it has to do with Starfield, but like, I guess it's a space game. But anyway, like, it's cool. It's cool. But in response to this, Planetary Union Captain Aura Wolf said, this is great. I love Starfield to bits. I'm still playing the game to this day, but ... You know me and my ... Oh. You really need to start communicating on what's happening with the next update / DLC. Please and thank you. 275 likes, because the fans that are still out there agree. They're very frustrated that they've basically not communicated anything. Prior to this, they had not said anything since, I believe, November, which is quite a while for a massive company like this to just go radio silent on a game they are allegedly still very much engaged with and updating and staying on top of. So it's just like, are we still working on it? Are we walking away? Because I think almost certainly the Shattered Space expansion's mediocre reception did damage to, I think, their plans, because they were hoping that would be a chance to bring in a whole new, I guess, suite of players, to bring back a lot of players who bought the game at launch. But as we can see, like, oh, wow, when they launched Shattered Space, you got a peak, 21,000 concurrents on Steam. Not bad, not bad, not bad. But then you go back and you see what it was at launch. I mean, they didn't even begin to recoup the number of players that played the game when it launched. This is the expansion. That little bloop. So it didn't quite get there. Now, what's an apples to apples? I think probably something like Cyberpunk. If we look at Cyberpunk and we compare the same kind of apples to apples thing, they've got 23,000 players in it right now. So like 20,000 more than Starfield. But if we go back to the max, you can see like Phantom Liberty, they were achieving 275,000 concurrent players after 1 million. I mean, they achieved basically a quarter of their launch numbers, but for the expansion. That's what you would kind of hope to see, you know, especially if you're planning on updating this game, and part of the sell of it is that it's going to be living and updating and changing and evolving. That's what you would hope to see. But they just haven't gotten there. And I think that that's mainly because Shattered Space, even for hardcore Xbox fans and Starfield fans, was just not it. It just wasn't where it needed to be. I'm sorry. Hate to be the bearer of bad news. I remember when I posted my little review, I bought the game, or bought the expansion. They didn't do reviews for it, from what I recall, which you could be like, that's a red flag. Sometimes it is. Like with expansions, it's really hit or miss. Like I don't blame developers if they don't want to do a review period for a DLC expansion. Like it's fine. Like if they don't want to do it, they don't want to do it. But I got the expansion, I played through it, and in an afternoon, I accidentally finished it. And I remember tweeting out, I was like, so I accidentally finished the expansion already. It's super short. I'm going to keep doing some side stuff, but it's tiny and there's really not much here. And dude, you would have thought that I burned my cardboard cutout effigy of Todd. I mean, you would have thought I committed some grave, unforgivable moral sin. The subreddit freaked out. X/Twitter was freaking out. People were like, how dare you? You were trying to hate on it. You went into it wanting to not like it. And then they played it. And you start to see comments deleted and people being like, okay, I just wanted to send an apology because, yeah, it's not great. Like people realized, yeah, it's really stupid short. I don't know what they were doing for a year. Like it's crazy. And after that, they went radio silent. And I think that that's indicative of the fact that they're trying to hunker down, they're trying to focus, but this has been the story of BGS for a long time, which is that they talk a lot in the lead up to their games, the game launches, and then they just kind of shut up and stop talking. I don't know if it's that they fired the social media managers. I don't know what it is, but they do tend to get really, really quiet very suddenly. And this has been the case since like Fallout 4 and Skyrim. I mean, they've always done this. The problem is with this, like you have a fan base you're trying to keep engaged to keep playing the game, and you're just not communicating with them. And that's a problem. And I think it's reflecting in player numbers. Like the expansion drops, they have 22,000 players on the weekend. But even then, like we go to November, peak weekend, 8,000 players. We go like a week or two later, it's down at 7,700, 7,900, 7,100. 6,800, 66. And as you continue to follow, I mean, you can see for yourself that players are dropping off. I mean, in January, 7,300 over the weekend on Sunday, then 6,800. The next Sunday, 6,500. The next Sunday, 6,100. I mean, they're losing about 350 to 400 players every week. You know, like that ends up being a problem if your game is allegedly going to be receiving annual expansions and tons of updates. Like it becomes prohibitively expensive to do that if you're not going to be getting that many sales out of it. And even when you do have an expansion that drops, the sentiment's really poor. It's like, okay, well, we're going to have a hard time doing this for what Todd has alluded to, which is like 3 years, 2 to 3 years of active support and expansions and stuff. I just don't see it. I just don't see that happening. But Starfield's account responded to this guy, Planetary Union Captain Aura Wolf, and said, we know you're eager for an update, and we truly appreciate your passion for Starfield. The team has been hard at work, and while we're not ready to share specific details just yet, we have a lot of exciting things planned for the game this year that we can't wait to talk about when the time is right. We're always listening and taking your feedback to heart. Thanks for being part of this journey with us. So they're bringing it to PlayStation 5 confirmed. No, I mean, that's kind of the other elephant in the room, is that everybody is kind of braced for the PS5 port. I'm honestly really curious how Starfield does on PS5. Because I know there's a lot of Bethesda fans that are on PlayStation, but it's not like Starfield has received a ton of great press in the year and a half that it's been out. So I'm interested in how it actually would perform there. But there's a strong chance that they do like a definitive collection. You know what they do sometimes where they say like Starfield Game of the Year edition, because they found one person who gave it their Game of the Year, and they're like, yeah, so it's the Game of the Year edition. It's like, is it though? Is it? Okay, whatever. You know, I'm not sure if I buy that. It happens like every year there's a game like that. But maybe they do a definitive edition of Starfield and it just includes the expansions. They do one more expansion this fall / winter, and you know, it's maybe another 5-10 hours, and that's the complete package. They launch it day and date with PlayStation and do it that way. Wouldn't surprise me. Really wouldn't surprise me. The Todd edition. Yeah, dude, I'd buy a Todd edition. Yeah. They found Luke saying that. Yeah, they clipped it right as I said that. But I think they probably do that. I think they have one more expansion. I cannot imagine a world in which they're doing 3 to 4 years of expansions for Starfield. Especially, the trend is really poor right now. I think, you know, if they hit 21,000, 22,000, whatever it was, concurrence when they launched Shattered Space, I don't think the number for the second expansion is that much higher unless the expansion is significantly better, which it might be. But we all were like, part of the reason I think Shattered Space was such a letdown was because they spent a year doing it. People forget. But if you look up Fallout 4 on Wikipedia, Fallout 4 DLC, they have a DLC section specifically. Look at this. Okay, so Fallout 4 launched in November of 2015. Enhance. In March, they released the Automatron DLC. Wasteland Workshop a month later. Far Harbor, which already is way bigger and has way more unique content than Shattered Space did. They released that about 6 months after the base game. And bear in mind, the team at the time of Fallout 4 was like less than half the size of Bethesda when they launched Starfield, which is crazy. They launched Contraptions a month later, Vault Tech Workshop a month after that, and then in August, just like 9 months, 9 to 10 months after launching the game, they had released 2 massive expansions. Massive is generous, but like, you know, and added maybe 30 hours of gameplay. And with Starfield, they managed to launch a paid mod that was a quest that was pretty clearly cut out of the base game, and it was still broken. And then they managed to launch Shattered Space, which was like 5 to 10 hours long if you were a completionist and really, you know, hated yourself. And they pumped that out and people found it utterly lackluster. I mean, it's just, you can't really argue with it, you know? And it's also, as outlined in this article, the other piece of it too is it matters what like content creators are doing. On Twitch, the game peaked at 550,000 viewers when it released. But as I write this, just 40 people are watching Starfield. By contrast, Fallout 4 has 650, which isn't much better, but the game is a decade old. On Steam, their player count numbers have dropped by 99%. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think at some point the numbers don't make sense to keep pumping stuff out. If people, like, it's the thing with player counts, it's the thing with content in general. If the views aren't there, if the players aren't there, if the money isn't there, people have voted with their wallet. You can be frustrated by that. You can say that, well, I really like Starfield. That's awesome. But players vote with their wallets and their time, you know? And even if astronauts had fun in space, flying to the moon when it was empty, that doesn't mean that players will want to spend money to do the same, you know? And so realistically, this is, I guess, the part of the segment where I talk about realistically what we see. I think we do see an expansion. I'm guessing it's the last one. I'd be shocked if we get a 2026 Starfield expansion. Surprise me, BGS, please. Todd, surprise me. But I'd be shocked to see that. I also guess it's going to be fairly mediocre. If they spend a year on the first expansion and that's all they could put together, I don't think they will magically do better this time around. My confidence in them is pretty low. Given that, I expect more paid mods will come out. I think they're going to do more of those paid mod quests. I think they do stuff like that. You know, they might announce some like stupid prize pool or competition to try and get more modders involved, something like that. I could see that happening. And, you know, maybe if we're really, really feeling spicy, they release it on PS5 before the second expansion. But I would be surprised if they do that. I think they're going to try to launch it with the expansion. They're going to frame the expansion as a total reinvention of the Starfield formula. And they're going to try to frame it as, this fixes all the stuff you didn't like about the base game. Here you go. Also, buy it on PS5 for full price, please. And it's probably going to be, I think that's what it is. Mod trading. They're like, we're bringing NFTs back. We did it. 16 times the NFTs. Who knows? Who knows? But I would just frankly be shocked if this continues receiving like a lot of effort from them, because I just don't think it makes sense. You know, you put this out. It was a good old swing. And you kind of bunted it. You know, you sold a lot of copies, no doubt. The game dominated discourse for a solid month or 6 months, whatever it was. And you got some movement, but you know what? The pitcher caught it. You struck out. Everybody's moved on. The game's moving on. Another batter has been to plate 3 or 4 times, and you keep trying to step back up there. Just chill. Chill. It wasn't meant to be. It wasn't in the Starfield. Okay? It wasn't. So let's focus on Elder Scrolls 6. Make that as awesome as it possibly can be. Respond to player feedback. Maybe get player feedback earlier. I think you know what they're going to say. Let's be honest. But at least get that feedback early. There's rumors and speculation of like a lot of companies trying to get viewers and gamers involved way earlier in the dev process because they don't want to be caught with their pants down like with a Concord or a Fair Games or any of those. They want to avoid those disasters. So they're like, let's get players in here to tell us this is a bad idea before we lose tons of money on it, you know? And that's not a bad idea, you know? Like, of course, there's just yesterday, there was a bunch of leaks from the Battlefield, whatever playtest thing that they were doing, where a bunch of people played an early version of Battlefield and provided feedback on it. That, I think, is the new trend. And I would encourage, like BGS, who pretty clearly has struggled giving their fans what they really want, just based on player counts, just calling it like I see it, get that feedback early, you know? Do that. Do that. You mean Fair Game $? Oh, what did I say? I said like Concord and... Oh, did I say Fair Games? Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Fair Game $. That's what I meant. So anyway. With this having been said, I think we'll see something of Starfield this year. I think we see something. I think we see the expansion. I think we see the inevitable PS5 port. When Phil Spencer's been asked in the last handful of months, will you categorically say that Starfield is not going to PS5? He's like, absolutely not. So he's refused to say that Starfield is safe from the ports, which I think is fine. I mean, you've got the game done, ported over to PlayStation. But I will say BGS has a history of partnering with Xbox specifically. And it would be really interesting to see if they launch it on PlayStation, if it just ends up being a buggy disaster. That would be really funny. But we'll see. You guys remember Skyrim on the PS3? If you played it on PS3, it's hard to forget. It's really hard to forget because it ran terribly. So we'll see. Time will tell. Yeah, it had I think it was a memory leak issue, wasn't it? Where you couldn't play the game for long sessions, otherwise it would crash, and it would crash more and more the longer you played it. Kind of a big oopsie. Big oversight. But anyway. All of that to say, rest assured, everybody, Luke will return to talking and rambling about Starfield this year. I have a feeling this game is one we cannot escape. It will be with us forever. And Todd will make you proud. We'll make you proud. And I hope you make us proud, frankly, my friend. Because I fear if you don't do it this year with Starfield updates and things, you're going to be running out of time. But we'll see. Yeah, Todd, just do it. Yeah, Gilly, I am reviewing AC Shadows. Yes. That's why I can't really talk about the new gameplay and stuff, because it's kind of hard to talk about it without self spoiling stuff, you know. This was also just kind of funny. Figured I would show you this. New segment. That's sort of a mini segment. Luke, what do you recommend for upgrading to PS5 storage brand? What did I get? I think I got a Western Digital one. Had a heat sink on it. It was black and metallic. Worked great. I think that's what I got. Look up like Western Digital PS5 expansion, like 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, something like that. Something like that. Hidden one already rolled credits. Get your numbers up, Luke. Are we allowed to say if we rolled credits? I'm not sure you're allowed to say that. I mean, it's not a big deal, obviously. Like, it's assumed if you're going to review a game, you're going to roll credits. But typically, it's like you're allowed to say you're reviewing it, and that's it. They're like, you don't say, because if you say I finished the game a day after codes went out, people are going to try to read into that, you know. So typically, they're just like, you can say this very specific thing and nothing else. But anyway, I just did a short workout and meditation. That's awesome, Shivet. That's wonderful. Hopefully, you're feeling good. He didn't say he rolled credits on Shadows. All he said was I rolled credits. That's all. Oh, okay. I like 99% of marketing people will not care. All it takes though is one executive trying to throw a fit because they're like, technically he didn't do, he broke what we said he was supposed to do. So let's, lock it up. And it's just annoying, which is why I'm so hyper obsessive, like over being accurate on it. Because I don't want to run into that situation. Fred Sturd, thank you for the super chat. Do you think Monster Hunter and Split Fiction killed any momentum that KCD2 had? No, I think most people had finished KCD2 by the time it came out. So single player games don't really need momentum in theory. You should just, it launches, you buy it, you play it. Live service? Yeah, if there was a big live service, if Fair Game $ launched at KCD2's time and then like Monster Hunter launches, yeah, it's going to be hard to not feel an effect from that. But that's why it's been so crucial for like PlayStation to get the timing on the Horizon online game right. They've got to get the timing for Marathon right. Like they really have to nail these timings, because if it launches next to another big live service game and they lose players, it's very uncommon that those players end up going back. It just is. And then George P, thank you for the 5. Hey Luke, apart from physical discs, why should someone choose PS5 over PC? The all-in-one package. It's nice to be able to just plug in and play without having to worry about driver updates, shader compilation, stuff. Like they're in theory, like the way, I forget who said it. Maybe it was Linus from LTT, but somebody described it as console gaming is laying back on the couch. PC gaming is sitting forward at your desk. And it's a subtle distinction, but you kind of know exactly what that could mean in terms of overall effect and your play style. If you're somebody that likes to lounge on the couch, console gaming is probably where you want to end up. If you're somebody that is okay sitting at their desk and having all this other stuff as well, it can be really nice to have the PC. What's very clear is that if you want to spend less money over time on games, PC is where you go. Like PC just has way better sales. It's an open market as opposed to a closed market, makes a difference. Or in the bathtub. Yeah, Jor. Hold on guys. I have to see if I can find that video. Jor, I found a video of you. I don't know if you saw that at the beginning. Where is it? Where is it? I think it was just on the home page, so I don't think I even have it pulled up. Damn it. Oh, maybe I can just go back. Maybe I do that. I just go back in the stream itself. Maybe I do that. So I missed a stream. Oh, it's okay. I forgive you. Probably. Yeah, Jor, look at this. I found a video of you at a rave during our regular podcast time. Come on, play. How do you explain this, Jor? What say you? You're like, oh, I'm working on stuff. I'm busy. Picture's worth 1,000 words, my friend. Yeah. Yeah, what have you to say? Yeah, exactly. Getting real quiet all of a sudden. Real quiet all of a sudden. Real interesting. Oh, anyway. What else did I have? What else did I have? Oh yeah, Hell Is Us. We got Hell Is Us stuff. Can't move my head anymore. Sorry, causes delay in typing. Yeah. I mean, we were just talking earlier in the stream about like accessibility options in games. So, we've been talking about, you know, limitations, disabilities, physical impotent. What is the word? Physical impairments. It's like impediments, impedances. I don't know. Facial recognition software says it's you. Yeah, we did the whole AI thing. AI says it's you. Yep. Impotent. Impediments, I think, would have also worked. Yeah. Okay. KCD2 sold millions of copies with a third the budget. Yeah, KCD2. It's a well-managed game made in a not super expensive part of the world by a team that was very focused, and they nailed it. Who's impotent? All of us, after not getting to listen to Joe Raptor on the podcast. The real reason I was playing with the new Lego Horizon set. Knew it. I knew it. Guilty. Guilty. Okay. Did you guys see the Hell Is Us gameplay? Did you guys see it? It looks straight up like Death Stranding mixed with like a little Stalker vibes, frankly, like just a little bit. NPCs look really good. Give them that. It's very immersive. I can already tell this running animation is going to give me an aneurysm. It's very, very trippy, very weird. Very weird. The way they describe it is that it's a world without traditional waypoints and markers. Learn how the game delivers clues in unique ways, staying true to its core philosophy, player plattering.
And in which order?
Let's go all the way back. Let's see.
Hi everyone, I am Jonathan Jacques Bellatet. I am the creative director and the art director on Hell Is Us here at Rogue Factor. So today I'm super excited because we're going to show you some brand new gameplay, some new sequences, and some new tidbits from the game that we've never shown before. Hell Is Us is a third-person action-adventure game that blends the old-school thrill of exploration and discovery with a deeply satisfying melee combat system. You're going to wield a lot of different weapons, master various skills, and strategically use your drone's abilities to gain the upper hand in battle. But combat is only 50% of the experience. The other half of the game is all about the exploration, the discovery, the joy that's related to them, and how they play a central role in your journey.
I mean, already he's saying stuff like little tidbits, the freedom of exploration, the sense of discovery. I'm hoping this is one of those first games we see that is learning from Elden Ring specifically. Like, you remember after The Witcher 3, there were all those games that came out like a year and a half, 2 years later that clearly were super inspired. Often they just straight up said they were inspired by The Witcher 3. Like AC Origins, the team was very clear. Oh, with AC Origins, yeah, we're taking a lot of notes from The Witcher 3. That's part of what inspired a lot of these choices. And people were freaking out at the time. They're like, they're not The Witcher. I'm like, bro, The Witcher 3 is like an amazing game. If other games look to it and say, hey, can we do stuff like that? If I get a game that's even 80% of The Witcher 3, I'm happy. If I get a game that has an open world and exploration that's even 80, 70% of what Elden Ring was, I'm happy. You know, like give me whatever you're able to do. If you're getting inspired by things I really like, that gets me excited. That gets me interested and intrigued, dare I say.
You know where the village of Jova is located? It's in Akasa Marshes. It's quite a ways from here.
So you play as Remy, and you're returning to the country you were born in. The country is called Hadia, and search for answers, but only to find that the land is torn apart by a vicious civil war. With only a few pieces of information to start with, so you'll have to investigate to uncover the truth about your past and figure out where to go next. But unlike traditional games, Hell Is Us doesn't rely on quest markers or a guided path. There's no magical compass pointing you in the right direction, and there's no quest journal with, the shopping list of everything that you need to do and in which order. But instead, our player plattering approach encourages you to follow your own instincts, discover clues organically, and chart your own course through the adventure.
Follow your own heart. I was really hoping he would say that. We designed the game for players to follow their own heart to the truth of the situation. I think this is exciting. I like this. But I also love hyper immersive games. Shocker, right? I love K-City too. I know, like, oh, Luke likes immersive stuff. So I like this. And primarily what I think it is, it's a response on my part to an industry which it feels to me on the AAA side of things has started assuming players are really stupid all the time. And it drives me crazy. You play something like Spider-Man 2, big budget game. God of War Ragnarok even did it with like Atreus constantly telling you how to solve puzzles before you even saw that you were in a puzzle, They just assume you're too stupid to figure it out, so they just hold your hand through the whole game. And I can't stand it. Like I want games to assume that I'm smart and to expect me to rise to the occasion and figure it out. And it's why I've been frustrated with games that have like puzzles in them where you just kind of walk through it. I like a lot of what Indiana Jones did, but a lot of those puzzles were just like doing stuff. They weren't really puzzles. They were impediments, as we learned was a word earlier. They were things to just, be speed bumps in the road from you getting to point A to point B, where you're like, okay, I just have to move this crate, then move this crate, and then push that, and then the door opens. Okay. That's not a puzzle. A puzzle is something you've got to think about. You got to figure it out. It's why if you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, that's not really a puzzle anymore, because you're just going through the motions. You're just doing the thing you know how to do. You're not like really thinking about it. If you don't know how to solve a Rubik's Cube, that's one hell of a puzzle, right? And with this type of thing, I love the idea of them putting stuff in a world, designing it around players, thinking through what they need to do and figuring it out and embracing those more dynamic things that can happen when players come to different conclusions or have different thoughts of how to get to point A to point B or from point A to point B. So I really like this. I think this is interesting.
Discover clues organically and chart your own course through the adventure. In this sequence, we just arrive at a village called Jova. This is the village where Remy was born. He remembers that. He also remembers one more clue, which is his father was the blacksmith of Jova. So these are kind of like the earliest clues that you have in the game in order to decide what to do, where to go, who to talk to, and how to chart your own path into trying to find your parents.
The lighting is crazy though.
Hey. Who are you?
I'm Rebecca. I've been hiding here since the attack on Jova, when the bombs fell from the sky. I was playing in the treehouse with my baby brother. My parents ran out and screamed at us to get down. My baby brother ran to them. That's when the bomb exploded.
I'm already unsettled. I also think that the microphones are a little too close to the actress's mouth. Because like you can hear their tongue slapping the inside of their mouth. Unsubscribe. It's just one of those things. What was the other game? There was another game where I think it was Mafia Definitive Edition, where they used these forehead mounted microphones, but the way they had it set up was just such that they could really hone in on the inhalation through the nose of one of the characters. I forget which one, but one character specifically, he would deliver a line of dialogue and then you just hear like in between every single line. And it was like, okay, can we tone that down? Can we move the microphone or something? It was like, it's a little distracting. Okay. It feels like he's in my ear inhaling. It's a little bit much. So anyway, that's a separate issue. I tend to get a little touchy with sound stuff. It's a problem I have. It's probably because I sold like home theaters and stuff, so I'm like hyper aware of it. But anyway,
So, I'm
Ignore
looking
me.
for the blacksmith. Do you know where he is?
I don't know him very well. I think he doesn't like kids much. I saw some villagers leaving with the, ON peacekeepers on their white trucks. Maybe he went with them.
Hey, did you see where the white trucks went?
I watched the white trucks drive away. They took the road that turns behind the hill with the ancient monuments. We can see them from here.
I love this kind of thing. So she just gave you the instructions of where to go. You have to think about it, remember it, and then follow through on it. This is something that you can actually do with almost all quests in The Witcher 3 as well, which you might not realize. But if you want to, most of the NPCs, almost all of them, when they tell you something in a quest in The Witcher 3, they'll say, I'll meet you down the street at the bookstore with the red door, or whatever it is. And you can find it without the quest objective marker. You can turn off the UI entirely and still play through most of the game. And it's the same thing in K-City 2. Like, it's something entrusting players to like be able to do it. And initially it can be really jarring because if you're used to playing a game that just holds your hand and puts an objective marker up and you just go there, you just bounce between locations, then you can just knock that out easy. I mean, it's going to be jarring if you go from that to this. But once you get used to it, it's super immersive. Jump. Dude, sorry to interrupt. I just got the email that they are working. They almost have fiber ready to go at my new address. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's about damn time. Because I've been having to pay $300 a month for internet that's really, really crappy. But it's the literal only service provider in the entire city, so you have no choice. But finally, there's competition. Oh, baby. Yeah.
So as you saw, we just learned that the blacksmith probably left with one of the humanitarian convoys from the organized nations, which are the peacekeeping forces stationed in the country. We've also found a map that appears to show a route coming out of the Akasa marshes. So we'll stop here for now. We've gathered a few clues. We have a bit of an idea where to go next for our investigation. We've shown you how things work a little bit and how you can connect the dots.
Show me.
But, you know, I want you guys to discover it for yourself when the game comes out in September.
Oh, we don't.
In this section, we're stepping away from the main investigation to explore the many hidden secrets and side investigations scattered throughout Hadia. You can complete the game without ever uncovering them. But if you're curious and observant, you might just stumble upon some incredible discoveries.
Can we normalize secrets in games again? Can we make this like a thing? I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to play a game and there's just nothing outside of what they very clearly designed. Like, you have a game map, okay? Well, let me pull up an actual one. Let me. I'm going to try to demonstrate this point. Okay, this is not. I'll do it this way. Because I don't know if Jor is still in here, but I'll do it this way. Horizon Zero Dawn had some like cool secrets and stuff in it, but what inevitably happens in a lot of modern games is that the player sees that there's like individual locations that are clearly placed there. There's something there. They're called POIs, points of interest, right? But outside of the POIs, there's nothing. Like they've marked it. They've marked it, right? So what that means is that there is basically no incentive to go in here. Now, I don't know for a fact that there's nothing to find in here. I'm guessing there's probably something. So I'm just using this as a map to demonstrate the point, because I'm sure Horizon has some loot up here or something like that. But with these types of games, there's no reason to run through the forest. There's no reason to go look in here because there's no POI marked. And so like the typical EA, Ubisoft kind of generic open world design tends to just have nothing important here because they're like, no, we don't want you spending time over here. We want you spending time in these areas. We put a lot of effort in. Look how much stuff is there. Look at all the little points of lore and lore building stuff and monsters and machines for you to hunt. Don't spend time hiking over here. Hike over here, And it's very frustrating because one of the most exciting things for me is when you're running through the open world and you are in one of these areas where there is nothing and you find something and you're like, what in the hell? What? You want to know one of the like old school, this is a deep cut. If you know what I'm talking about, then you're an OG too. Do you guys remember Just Cause 2? Do you guys remember Just Cause 2? When that game came out, one of the biggest shows on all of TV was a show called Lost. Unfortunately, they lost the plot towards the end of it and it turned into a disaster and it was horrible. But if you go to a very specific island in Just Cause 2, the plane will just automatically crash no matter what you do. It's tied to the story. There's something there. But if you jump out and you go down into the forest of this island, you can see there's no POI. There's nothing marked on it. But if you descend down slowly, you can actually find some stuff. So you see they swing down here. It says search a crashed plane. You're like, oh, well, maybe it's just a plane crash. It's just like a little bit of environmental detail. But if you swing into the forest, you can eventually come across... Come on, where is it? Where is it? The Hatch. If you never watched Lost, you won't know what the Hatch is, but it's a big Easter egg from the show. It's very specific to Lost. Dude, this guy can just not find it. There it is. So you can come across the Hatch. It has nothing to do with anything. There's no quest tied to it. It's just like an Easter egg. It's a little secret nod to the show. But finding this, I can't even tell you how many times I just like would wander around an island. Because after I found this, I was like, what else could be out there? Turns out basically nothing. But when you find that one secret, it ignites the imagination. And you're like, oh my God, I want to look everywhere. I want to check everything out. I got to keep looking and digging and around every corner, every nook and cranny. I got to find it. Elden Ring also did a great job of this, where you could be looking somewhere and you're like, I don't think I'm supposed to be here. And then you find a hidden boss or a super powerful weapon or something. And those moments of discovery and surprise can motivate another 10, 15 hours of you running around finding nothing, but you're trying to chase that high of finding something cool that maybe you're only one of a dozen people on Earth that found it. Realistically not, but still, like, it's that feeling of you discovered something secret, and that's cool. And I like the idea that Hell Is Us is trying to do the same thing. I really, really like that. Because so many games have just kind of given up on the idea of secrets, and it's frustrating the hell out of me. Whoops, I'm muted. They're like, why would we put a secret in our game? That might mean that people won't see it. Why would we work on something and put it in the game if not everybody will see it? Like, that's precisely why, because the fact that not everybody will see it makes it so much more valuable. That's worth 5 regular quests or encounters because it's something special,
Some incredible discoveries. Our core philosophy is simple. If your instinct tells you there's something to do, then there probably is. The footage you're seeing now showcases just a few of the many secrets woven into Hell Is Us. These are playful examples of how the game handles secondary investigations, but they perfectly illustrate our approach.
I'm only permitted to play Sabinian classics, I'm afraid. Unfortunately, I only happen to know one of their dreadful compositions.
There are countless mysteries waiting to be uncovered. If you trust your instincts, you'll find yourself solving some truly fascinating mysteries along the way. Now, when we talk about player plattering, it doesn't mean you'll constantly need to overthink every step to progress. Many elements will be clear and intuitive, as our belief is that you actually don't need quest markers to navigate and advance in the adventure. That being said, for those who love a challenge, some of these deeper secrets will require keen observation and deduction to be uncovered. Good luck. Take another look at the sequences we've just shown in this video and share with us your first ideas on how to solve this last secret. Let's see who can connect the dots first.
I rationed his milk as long as possible, but ran out yesterday. Poor Uli is starving. I don't know how I can possibly get any more.
Thank you all so much for tuning in.
Baby bottles?
We hope you...
Watch somebody in the comments already has it. I'll be grabbing a notepad and pen when writing down every clue I see in here. This is kind of immersion I can really get into. Yeah, I'm actually okay with like needing to write down and keep notes in a game. I understand how some people hate that, okay? I'm not saying every game should be like that, but I do love the idea of a game that's so immersive that you want to keep like a journal for it. You know, like the answer is to retrieve breast milk. Just show back up in the village. Guys, I'm on a quest. No. It's for a baby. Not me. It's a different baby. But yeah. I like this. I like this a lot. I like a lot of what I'm hearing. Now, this can go, you know, a couple different ways. Sometimes they nail it and they do a great job. Other times you hear this type of thing said and you end up with something like, maybe that's like really self-indulgent, something like, you know, Death Stranding, where it's really artsy and crazy and weird. And it can be very immersive, but it can also just be like trying so hard to be immersive that it can kind of lose sight of the fact that it's a video game. So there's a balancing act, but I think that these types of games that are not being designed for everybody, I mean, they're pretty transparently not trying to make a game that appeals to the broadest possible slice of gamers, or modern audiences, whatever the hell they want to call it. And I like that. I like games that are not the same, because inevitably what you end up with a lot of these companies is that they're like, we have to appeal to this group where there's 300 million possible customers. So you have to appeal to every single one of them by doing this, and this, and this, and this, trying to check off these boxes so that they like it. Oh, well, Fortnite kids like Fortnite, so let's make their art style look like Fortnite. And then we have all these other players that like Rocket League, so let's just sprinkle balls everywhere. And like they just start trying to do everything to appeal and pander to everybody they can. And in the end, they make a game that literally nobody likes because it's just so painfully generic, you know. But this seems like it's being designed from the ground up to not appeal to everybody. Yeah, some people will probably hate this, and I appreciate that. Doesn't mean that it leads to a great game. I mean, sometimes you can double down on your core design philosophies and you made some mistakes, or your design philosophy just doesn't lead to a very good game or a fun game. But at the very least, I think it has potential to really be something special. Kind of high risk, high reward, if you think of it like that. High risk, high reward. I love this. Looks like Kojima and Last of Asus. Yeah, it's like Deus Ex mixed with Death Stranding. And then the open world kind of reminds me of Stalker a little bit. It seems with like a little bit of it's a little bit of something else. The like really surrealist enemies. I don't don't know. There's like the little bit of Housemarque in there too. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting melding. So we'll see. It comes out in September. It's on its way. I believe it's September 4th. It says it will be released on PlayStation 5. I don't know if this is cross-platform or not, but an interesting game. Something to keep an eye on. Control, yeah, a little bit of Control, yeah, just a tad, little taste of it, yeah. I'm glad it exists for people that like this kind of thing. Well, exactly, Captain Savvy. It's a game that's not for everybody, and it's not apologizing for itself. It's just doing its own thing. In the words of Peter Griffin, it insists upon itself. It insists upon itself. Oh, okay. What else did I have? Oh yeah, I wanted to show you this because this was interesting. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. New segment. Nomad Ski, thank you for the Nomad Ski, I'm guessing. Thank you for the resub with Prime. Thank you, my friend. That's wonderful. And then also Wilfredo, thank you for the 2. Take a look at the Hell Is Us gameplay trailer. Sure did. Okay, let's talk about this. Where did it go? I just had it. Okay. Trailer, full game. Yeah, this works. So, do you guys remember a little game from 2023? I think it was late 2023. Might have been after that. I don't know. Frankly, it's a blur. Marvel's Avengers. This game was from Crystal Dynamics, a very talented studio, and it was supposed to be like one of the next big things. It was going to be a multiplayer live service extravaganza. This was supposed to be a moneymaker. I mean, after all, you all liked Endgame, didn't you? Surely you'll like this. Turns out, not really. The game is dead, meaning you cannot buy it now, even if you want to. It's delisted. It's like totally shut down and gone. And you might be like, Luke, why are we talking about this? Why are we bringing this up? Well, something kind of interesting just popped out of nowhere, which is some concept art that Miller Ross dug up. Numerous pieces of concept art for Marvel's Avengers, She-Hulk, were shared on ArtStation today by Crystal Dynamics' Brandon Russell. The hero was slated to make her debut in the game's canceled second season, played by actress Krysia Bios, maybe? And then these are the pieces of concept art. And the reason I find this interesting is, for one, I mean, they have concept art that they drew up. Obviously, when you see a live service game announced, they are working on like the second season of content while you're playing like the base game. You know, they have to work on this stuff well in advance. It's why for like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, all of the stuff where we played like Lawless and whatever Tupperware lady, we're like, how in the hell did you guys choose to do, like, these playable characters are laughably horrible. Did you listen to any of the feedback? It's like, well, no, because they designed this and decided to do this before any of that happened. So they literally didn't, you know, it was done before that. And with this, you can see that they did all of these designs for a character that never ended up in the game because it was canceled and abandoned well before she ever would have appeared. Now, I also, I mean, as for whether these costumes and outfits and cosmetics would have made money, I mean, I'm sure they probably would have. The reason so many of these companies are doing skins and like microtransactions and live service stuff is because when it works, it prints money. I mean, it just does. There was like that one story of how, you know, in one day, I think Gauntlet, was it the Godzilla or something Gauntlet in Call of Duty? It was like an $80 microtransaction or series of them. because I think you had to buy 4 different $20 microtransactions. And that made more money than like any of the AAA single player games that had released that year in terms of profit. It just printed money for Call of Duty because people bought a lot of them. They just did. So this stuff, you know, they do it because it makes money. But when it goes bad, when live service goes bad, it goes really bad. It's literally high risk, high reward to the extreme extent where there's no middle ground. Either you are making hundreds of millions of dollars or you are losing hundreds of millions of dollars. There's no real middle ground. But I thought this was just an interesting little snippet of what could have been. And it reminds you of like any of these other live service games like Concord. They had allegedly multiple new playable characters that were still slated to come like down the road that we've never seen. And I'm sure in like a year or two, we probably see leaks of concept art and maybe even in-game models and stuff of Concord characters that never saw the light of day, that were probably done when that game came out, but just never had the chance to be released. And I think it's the same with Suicide Squad. We probably will hear what season 2 would have been. Miller also did a ton of digging on Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. So who knows, maybe he knows what some of the other characters would have been that they were looking at doing. He does a lot of data mining. But they were working on a ton of stuff, dude. They were working on a ton of different stuff and it just never went anywhere. And, you know, the show wasn't great, I hear. I've kind of checked out of Marvel stuff since puberty, so I've just not been like super into it. But even people who are super into it told me that this was god awful. I don't know. Did any of you guys see it? Did any of you guys see the show? It was not it. It was peak cringe. It was doo-doo. Yeah, that's kind of what I heard. That jives with what I heard. Yeah, what a waste. What a waste. It's just amazing to me that still we can see teams spending hundreds of millions of dollars on stuff that nobody wants, nobody wanted at all. And it just, you know, goes nowhere. And they end up walking away from it. And then all of this work that was done for months or even years is just down the dumpster. It wasn't bad. I followed I mean, there's some shows that are so bad that they're still fun to watch, like 1,000 Pound Sisters. Nobody's watching that reality show to get something out of. That soundbite that I've shown you before is from that reality show, that 1,000 Pound Sister show. So, like, but you're going into that knowing this is like really stupid and bad. It's just junk food, somewhat appropriately. But with some shows like Acolyte or The Witcher season 3 on Netflix, for example, like for some of these, it just gets so bad to the point where it's like, I can't even watch it anymore. Like there's just nothing to work with. You know, like I just don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know. The power of many. Yeah, man, I just... Maybe eventually we get another good Star Wars anything. But I'll believe it when I see it. Part of it is like rose-tinted glasses. We all look back to like old school Star Wars. But prior to like the modern movies, everybody memed on the prequels for being horrible. And then we got the modern Star Wars movies and we're all like, okay, these are really horrible. Except for like Rogue One. And then, you know, but it's like, were the prequels that good? No, they're just not that bad compared to some of the newer stuff. Like what's the last one? Rise of Skywalker or something? Fall of Skywalker? I have no idea. I don't know, man. So you're saying it gets worse. I think with so many of these games, it's all about perspective. You know, if you think of like overall quality, of a lot of stuff, like the original Star Wars movies up here, maybe like episode 4, episode 5, episode 6, and then you get like the prequels and the modern stuff. So 4, 5, 6, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and then time goes by, and then we get Rise of Skywalker, or whatever those movies are. I don't remember their names. And I think it's always because like you're just a little guy standing here and you're like, wow, that's so high. Look how much better these used to be. We're so low on the scale right now. It sucks right now. But it's because you're looking back up. Even though at this time you were standing right here going, wow, this sucks. Because look how high we used to be. So it's all a matter of like context. Nowadays, we're down here. I mean, really, we're like down here. And so all of this older stuff looks awesome. But what are the odds that they actually start to figure it out? You know? What are the odds they start to figure it out? Nostalgia strong with many. Well, I mean, you can look at videos of those same people. Like if you think of like a YouTuber or something, you can see videos they did before the modern movies where they're like bashing the prequels for being horrible or for being bad and like just not very good. Because there is a lot of cringe. Let's be honest. They're kind of cringy. But in contrast to this garbage, they're masterpieces. They're great. Because we've got garbage right now. And my thing is like, I just don't know if we ever get back up here. You know, do we get a new plateau? Do we get a revamping that is somehow like a revolution in terms of quality of these new games or of these new movies? I don't think so. Maybe. But you gotta remember, like, if Kathleen Kennedy was responsible for the modern era of Star Wars, she was still put in her position by, like, Bob Iger and by that whole Disney executive team. That executive team is still there. They thought she was a really good idea, and they said very publicly for years that they were doing that Kathleen Kennedy was doing a great job when she was demonstrably not. So, like, what makes you think they've just now figured it out? You know, Kathleen Kennedy is gone now. Apparently she's there through the end of this year or later this year, and she will be helping pick her replacement, is what she has said. So I don't think she's actually like gone. Some people framed it as like the era of Kathleen Kennedy is over. It's like, apparently she's still like very involved and she's picking her replace. Like, I don't know if this is actually, it doesn't seem like this is them cleaning house. It seems like this is them just being like, hey, we're just going to put like a new face in here. Or maybe she wanted to retire or something. Like, you never know, you know? Don't you think they were kind of afraid of pressuring her, maybe like pushing her out? I don't know. I don't think you can half fire people. I think if you're firing somebody, you should fire them. Being like, okay, I think we should maybe kind of sort of part ways, and you can like help pick your replacement, and we can like take a year to kind of get you out of position. But like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if that's a thing. So we'll see. Whoever they put in place will tell you a lot. Same with like Warner Brothers games. Whoever they end up putting in position in Warner Brothers games will tell you a lot. You know? If they hire somebody that's just Kathleen Kennedy 2.0, then obviously you know exactly what you need to know. If they hire somebody that's just like the most diehard Star Wars fan you've ever seen and is just a fan through and through, that's cool. That tells you a lot. Oh, so they're focusing on the fans. Okay, time to get excited. That's when you'll be able to tell. But until then, it's all just talk and speculation. Like, who knows? They could put somebody way worse than Kathleen Kennedy in position. Okay, so let's just keep our excitement in check, because there's a strong chance they screw it up worse. That's all I'm saying. They didn't magically figure out how to give fans what they want in the last like 3 months. Okay, like they just didn't. They're just trying to appease people. But they're the same as they always have been. Oh. Speaking of wars, have you covered the Gears of War rumors yet? Not officially, no. Gears. Yeah, this. Yeah, so an insider is claiming that Gears of War Collection has been a frequent topic of conversation in recent times. It's rumored, it's a rumored remake or remastering of the legendary Gears title. And if you're eager to learn more, we've gathered the latest details. Gears was once one of Microsoft's most powerful franchises. Yeah, it's kind of been on ice. What the last one was what? Gears, they called it like Gears 5, I think. Instead of like Gears of War 5, they just called it Gears 5. And that was like 2019, 2020. Oh, Tactics in 2020. Yeah, so it's been a minute. And of course they're working on, E-Day. They're working on stuff. It's not like they've been sitting on it, doing nothing. It's not on ice or anything. But I'm interested to see what they do. I do think there is a lot of nostalgia with it, obviously. I mean, it's freaking Gears of War. So there's a lot of nostalgia. A collection or remake collection makes a lot of sense because I think that's easy money if it's done well. Especially these games are all like Unreal Engine games. They're like, imagine if they can just take these older games and port them forward to Unreal Engine 5 with like a lot of the modern bells and whistles. That could be super cool, dude. That could be really, really cool. So that would be interesting. But as we can see, we go through this. So the latest reports indicate that Gears of War Collection could release in mid-2025, possibly August of 2025. That would line up. Right now, there's kind of a hole in the Game Pass lineup. If this ended up being like the Game Pass release for that time frame, that could make a lot of sense. Again, this is all speculation, so take the information with a pinch of salt. Leaker Detective Seeds claims that Gears of War Collection is already on storefronts. They also claim the release period is likely mid-August. That's what they say. It is PS5 Pro enhanced. I've been told no multiplayer PvP though. Campaign focus only. That would be interesting. No PvP. That's like a lot of people's favorite part though. Like that's an interesting move. I mean, maybe what they're doing, if they're doing like a big collection, they have one of the game's multiplayer mode, but just not the others. But yeah, that's a weird choice. I would assume the reason why is because you launch 3 games or more, whatever they end up doing in a collection. And do you have 3 different multiplayer modes and you pay for 3 different server infrastructures? And like, do you juggle that? It's a big headache. I think they should just like do PV or peer-to-peer stuff. Just do it that way. Keep it simple, dude. Like, have one player be the host. We live in 2025. Internet's pretty good. Okay. Like, I don't know why peer-to-peer stuff is such a no-no nowadays, especially for like more cooperative game loads. I know there's fears, especially with certain types of games with like IP address scraping and things like that, where streamers can have their IP addresses scraped and, you can end up with DDoS attacks and all sorts of stupid stuff. But maybe there's a way to protect against that if it's fed through a server that then can anonymize that stuff. But the primary connection is peer-to-peer. I don't know. I'm not paid enough and I'm not smart enough to figure this out. Banana says, if it's true, I would assume it's because they want to focus their multiplayer efforts on E-Day. Well, and you got to think, like, there's a pool of Gears, like, multiplayer players. There's a pool of a lot of them, okay? And if you make a bunch of little multiplayer modes, you got one here, you got one here for the different games. Maybe one player loves this one, but really doesn't like these. So he's only going to play this one. But the problem is, this pool gets split up and all those players end up in each of these pools. it's literally just going to start to fracture and splinter off those players, because these players are the same ones you want to play your massive E-Day multiplayer mode where all the money is going to be made, like where they're going to have the cosmetics, where they're going to have the battle pass, whatever they end up doing. I have no idea what they'll do, but that's where they're going to be making their money. And so why put yourself in a position if you've got a bunch of players here, a bunch of players here, and a bunch of players here? They might not move to the new mode. You just be splintering the audience. So it seems instead what they're doing is just deciding, okay, well, forget this. That goes away. And now everybody just go straight into this mode. Hooray! Hooray! Maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't think that's a big deal though, because like, my guess is it's expensive. I think that's probably what it is they're just like, we don't want to put that much effort in. Like, it's whatever. Because there's other examples of like old school games that have modern counterparts from the same companies. You could even look at something like, old Stronghold games, like Fire Access games and stuff like that, where they have multiplayer modes in those old school games that have been remastered, whatever, remade. And then they launch their new game and players still play it. Like, it's not that big of a deal, People might play the old school version for sake of nostalgia for like a week or two, or occasionally to be like, hey, remember we played that game in high school? Let's boot it up again and try it. They might do that. But I don't think it's going to be like their main game or anything. When they launch E-Day, I think most of those players end up being like, oh yeah, we got to go try that. So I don't know if I buy that excuse that it's like, we want to preserve player counts. We don't want to fracture it. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Realistically, it probably just is that we're going to have to pay for like server upkeep. We're good. Let's just not. But it's if true, because again, this is coming from one leaker, one guy. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I mean the no multiplayer PvP is coming from Detective Seeds. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe his source was wrong. Maybe. But that would be crazy if they actually were deciding to strip out PvP. It's just like the campaigns in these games are awesome. Exhibit A. They're crazy, but that would just be surprising because I know a lot of people who love Gears of War and the vast majority of their playtime is in the multiplayer modes. So that would just be crazy to see. This would back up with industry insider Jez Corden's previous report that it's coming in 2025. Leakers and insiders tend to have exclusive information, as we know ourselves, that is usually correct. All signs point towards Gears of War collection and assortment of remade and reimagined Gears titles for 2025. Which games could be in it? They can't identify which Gears of War games will be added to the collection. It could be any number of the games from 1 to 5. I mean, I think the safest bet is 1 to 3. Just call it, keep it simple. Keep it simple. Maybe they go all the way through 5, but I mean, at that point, I think that's maybe a bit much. Let's see. The only report so far, also from Jez Corden, indicates that Gears of War 1 Ultimate Edition could be one of the games. One crucial aspect seemingly known about the collection is co-op is present, but there's no multiplayer. So just no PvP stuff. And this is a report. Yeah, Jez. Okay, so Jez also backed this up. What I miss? Rumors about God of War collection. What's the rumor? No multiplayer. The source doesn't exactly inspire confidence. So actually, I too have heard no multiplayer. Campaign co-op? Yeah, co-op, but not PvP. So now so now there's two different sources. Okay. Bro, why is acting like they didn't do this exact same thing with Master Chief Collection? There's an old saying. two wrongs do not make a right. And in this case, just because some other group or company or parent company, the same parent company, whatever, just because somebody else did something similar does not mean that we have to like it here. Okay? That's not how that works. Like, if my phone decides they're going to be like, hey, I'm trying to think of a really stupid example. We're going to remove the charging port and make a proprietary one so that you have to buy our cables to charge your phone. I'd be like, I don't like that. That is bad. I am upset about that. This company could go, well, Apple did it back in the day, so why are you upset? That's not a counter, you know? It's like these other people did the same stupid thing we're doing, so therefore you have to like it. That doesn't follow, you know? Like, it doesn't follow. So even if there are other examples of other companies stripping multiplayer from remasters and remakes, okay. But that doesn't mean that we have to like it in this case, you know? And furthermore, like, you can't just blindly point to other examples, because there's, like, Gears of War is Gears of War. The PvP experience is like part of its DNA. It's a pretty huge part of it, which is why this has garnered a big reaction, because people are like, why would you take out something so integral to the experience that people know and love about Gears of War? I still think it sells well. I still think Gears fans will buy it, but I do think it's just a weird decision. It's like, why? Like, why are we doing that? That just seems stupid. But okay, whatever. I remember the Master Chief Collection was $60, and the Master Chief Collection had all the multiplayer modes in the game. Yeah, it's a better value. I mean, I find this very surprising that they would be doing it, because realistically, like, you'd be using the Microsoft Azure cloud. Like, you have all the money and resources you could possibly need to do it. Like, is it really moving the profitability markers that much? Like, really? It was also super broken at launch. True. But that's another one where, like, if this ends up launching super broken for several years and people are like, yeah, but Master Chief Collection was broken. It's like, yeah, we didn't like it then either. Like, we're upset about both. Okay. So I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. I find that an interesting choice to make. I mean, like I said, the campaigns are still good. There's still reason to check it out and get it. And especially as like a Game Pass title, if it ends up, you know, taking that route, which it probably does. Almost certainly does. That, you know, it still could be worth jumping into, but it is surprising that they're stripping out something that many people consider to be like core to the experience. It's like announcing that, oh, we're going to remaster the old Monster Hunter games, but no co-op. It's like, but co-op was like a pretty crucial thing. No co-op. You can go to the hubs together. You can do that part together. You can do main story missions together, but no co-op in regular hunts and like dynamic hunts, optional hunts, stuff like that. Be like, why are we doing that? Why are we doing that? It's as always, the answer is probably just money. But again, that doesn't mean that we have to necessarily like it, you know. Remaster the old Monster Hunter games, FPS still in single digits. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories of those old school Monster Hunter games. I don't know if you can remaster those. I think a lot of them you'd have to just straight up remake, because I think a lot of it doesn't scale. Yeah. Do 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 do. Okay. Gears of War fans going through the same thing as THPS, Tony Hawk Pro Skater fans. Oh yeah, because they also did that. You're a Dreamcast fanboy. Dude, I don't think I could point out a Dreamcast if you lined them up next to a bunch of other devices. I'm like, I don't know if I'd be able to tell which is which. That's before my time, dude. It's before my time. Ooh, wait. What's this? Mafia developers are saying stay tuned for something big. They just posted this. We can't wait to show you and tell you something new about the next Mafia. Stay tuned and trust us. This is going to be big. It's just a single post. They say summer of 2025. I think it's almost certainly August. I think it has to be August. But I love me some Mafia. You guys know that. I love me some Mafia. I need me some Mafia. I sure do. I doobie do. Bring it here. Okay. Man. Imagine if that Mafia game ends up being really good too. Oh. It's all I need. This year, I think, really will go down as probably having the most solid Game of the Year contenders in the last 10 years. I mean, it's 2023 was crazy because there were two games. It was Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate. And it was like, it could go to either one. Game of the Year. If anybody chose one of those two, it's like, yeah, fair. You can't even be upset, right? It's like both of those are phenomenal candidates. This time around, though, it looks like there's probably also going to be a couple of probably a few very solid candidates. And we don't even know what Nintendo has planned. Because again, they're launching their console. They almost always have a GOTY contender at launch for their consoles. Yeah, 2018 as well, yeah. And so there's a strong chance there might be like 4 or 5. Like there might be a strong, solid GOTY contender that just doesn't even get a nomination because there's not room. It's insane. And now there's rumors that 2026 Xbox might be launching their next gen console. Can you imagine? Man. We're spoiled. Mafia looks so sick. Cannot wait to see the new game. Is like very hopeful. Yeah, dude. I'm very, very hopeful because I love me some Mafia Definitive Edition. I like the old school games. 3, now that it works, is much better. It's a big asterisk. But what's really sad, and I've mentioned this before. Nikki's calling. Because it's like 4 p.m. so I should probably wrap up. Yeah. Anyway. Well, I'll call it there, everybody, because my wife's calling me. Samuel, thank you for the 5. Just beat Dark Souls. Thank you for that. Hooch McGraw, awesome name. Thank you for the sub with Prime. Thank you for that one. I'll call it there. Much love, everybody. I'll see you on Monday. Rock and roll. I'll see you then. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. I'm in trouble, aren't I? No, it's fine. I'll see you guys Monday. Bye-bye.